Stardust. Arguably the most important resource in Pokemon Go, allowing you to power up your Pokemon to CPs never seen before. Like without Stardust, I would not have my Primal Groudon at over 6,600 CP. Now lucky for us, on April 11th from 6 to 7 PM came the best event we've ever had for grinding Stardust in Pokemon Go. And it all featured one Pokemon, Shellder. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Shellder? What's so special about Shellder? Yeah, I know it looks like a random Pokemon, but this thing is a Stardust gold mine. You see, in the main series games, Shellder can hold an item called a Pearl or a Big Pearl. These items can be sold for high value currency, making it a great way to grind money in the main series Pokemon games. To reflect this, Shellder gives you 1,000 Stardust every time you catch it. And with Shellder Spotlight Hour boosting Shellder spawns to the point of a community day, I knew this was my chance to get a world record Stardust run in Pokemon Go. So I grabbed my camera, grabbed my star pieces, and it was time for one of the biggest grinds of my life. Okay guys, the time is currently 5:55. In the next 5 minutes, we're gonna have 1 hour to get the most amount of stars. I'm gonna take a couple minutes here, stretch it out, because the legs are feeling tight from this morning's gym. Let's see what we can do. So this grind all started at City Hall. Now you'll notice when I'm playing here, I have sensors off and AR mode activated. Reason being is because AR mode is going to skip that Pokeball appearing animation, and you can see I'm catching Pokemon every couple seconds. The sensors off feature, exclusive to Android, allows a Pokemon to stay in the center frame even if you are in AR mode. If you want to learn how to do this technique, check out the link below. We continued grinding and walking all the way up until Confederation Park. Unfortunately, auto is not the best response and there's a lot of dead zones, so luckily I had a bunch of stacked Pokemon I could catch for those dead areas. Nonetheless, we continued grinding and walking and catching hundreds of Shelders. I was now in Confederation Park, pretty much the center point for Pokemon Go in Ottawa, and I caught every single Shelder I saw. The great thing about this hour as well was that Shelders are so easy to catch. They have a green circle, making them almost a guaranteed catch. Would have sucked a lot more if this was a combi spotlight hour. I headed down into the city, which is a route I've never taken before, and honestly, the spawns weren't bad. I knew I wanted to make it over to Spark Street because that's a pedestrian-only street, and there is a lot of spawns on that street. We finally made it to Sparks and continued walking until I got recognized as Auto Walks. Auto Walks? No. Told the guy I wasn't him, but apparently he was a guy who went around during the protests in Ottawa and was showing off pretty much what they were like. Shout out Auto Walks, I guess? Nonetheless, we continued back towards Parliament and headed up the street. It was a beautiful day, but I had worn a sweater and I was starting to sweat heavy walking at a high speed. We continued catching until we started heading down towards Chateau Laurier. I'm gonna say it again, I wanna buy this hotel, so be sure to subscribe to help me get to my goal. The Shelter spawns were everywhere, and honestly, I felt like I was catching over 20 Pokemon a minute. Of course, I still did have to jump into that field research task because sometimes there was a couple dead zones, but we continued into Major Hill Park where it was a beautiful sunny day. There was actually a lot of people out this night because of the beautiful weather. We continued walking, heading towards Byward Market. I almost slipped going down this hill because there was still a little bit of snow here, but that's probably all gone now. We headed across the street and headed right into Byward Market, which is known to have insane spotlight hours. We were now in the Byward Market, heading towards the center area, and I could barely keep up with these spawns. Honestly, I should try to make my spotlight hour route just all in the Byward Market because it had way more spawns than I expected. We continued walking through this area until we finally made it out. My next plan was to go over to Ottawa University, which is a place I normally hit up. Luckily, it was a late night on a Tuesday during exam week, so I knew it wasn't going to be too busy. Unfortunately, though, I did get stuck at a light here and lost a couple minutes. Nonetheless, though, I continued pacing by everyone I saw, crossing the streets, until I was finally in Ottawa University. The spawns here were insane, and there were so many spawns I could barely keep up. And like I predicted, barely anyone was here, so it wasn't too bad trying to get by all the students. We continued walking through the area, catching hundreds and hundreds of Shelders. I had a really good feeling at this point that I had caught a lot of Shelders, and this might be a record for 1 hour catches for me. I had to actually really slow down in this area because there were so many spawns I could barely keep up. Now at this point, we had about 50 minutes left, and I wanted to try to make it back to City Hall for one last grind there because I knew the spawns had refreshed. So we raced and we ran and we went as quick as possible while catching all the way back until the street that takes us to City Hall. I knew though the one downside of this route is that I'm gonna have to go over the bridge with no spawns. That's what I call it, but that's not what it's actually called. This bridge always has no spawns, so I decided when I was on it to try to make a run for it to save as much time as I could. I also refreshed my game because I did get glitched anyway. Finally, we had made it back to City Hall, and I was right, the spawns were refreshed. We were able to grind one last time, collecting all these Pokemon and making one last lap around this area. I was actually walking faster than expected and cleared City Hall no problem with 5 minutes to spare. So I started heading down back towards the car in hopes that there would be spawns there because I didn't know where to go. Finally, when I turned the corner, it was officially over. Sorry, took a moment to catch my breath. That has got to be the hardest grind I've ever done. Maybe next time don't wear a sweater because my pits Let's head back to the car and update on how much we're able to catch. It looks like I was able to catch 500 Shelders. That's insane amounts, and we also caught a couple other Pokemon, so this is not everything we caught. But my previous record was like 450 Pokemon, so this is a new record for 1 hour catch. Oh, I'm just realizing I forgot to Mega Evolve for Shelder. Missed out on a lot of XL Gandies. We didn't get 100% of E's, kind of sucks. And we did hatch a shiny Igglybuff. I'm not sure when I hatched this. I did hatch a shiny Ponyard this morning, though. Now I can hear you guys. Dax, shut up. How much stars did you get? And if we take a look at the before, we're about at 3,400,000. If I swipe over the after, it's around 4,200,000. I have never gained so much dust in a short period of time in all the time I've been playing Pokemon Go. I think this has been the best event ever to get Stardust. What am I gonna use that Stardust on, you ask? No clue. Let me know in the comment section below. But I hope you guys took advantage of this event because the Stardust games were absolutely insane. Now we all cross our fingers for a 3x catch Stardust AUTOCATCHER'S Community Day. That would be the greatest thing ever. Niantic told me if you follow for more tips, it might happen. Peace.